Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're watching us for the first time, welcome to Beyond the Noise with Sam, where I share my experience comparing two lives, African life and American life. Feel free to let us know where you're watching us from. If you're joining us for the first time, feel free to tell us where you're watching us from. Share your experience in the comment section. Share, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification just in case anytime the video is uploaded, you get the bell notification that the video has been uploaded. It's on this episode today, I'm going to compare the two different lives. So I think I'll name it Uganda versus America. Yeah, we're comparing two way of living, way of lives, which are totally different. So if you're joining us today, thank you so much for joining us today and also being part of this. Share love, not hate. So I've been in the States for 3 years. I know many of you may be like, for 3 years, what have you seen? At least I share what I've seen, and feel free to also share what you have seen, what you have known. If you're an American, tell us what you have known about Africans. I was born and raised in Uganda in particular, but African life is almost similar besides the Middle East of Africa. But African life is similar, how some things are done. For the time I've been in the States, I've come to learn a lot of things, more so with culture, how things are done, and then how in life you need to be patient. So here in the States, I feel like some people are a bit understanding. Like you're very understanding even if when you try to explain, or even if when you say something, they will understand you. Yet where we come from in Africa, there's a lot of explanation, and also somebody will give you attention because he or she knows you. But here, someone may give you attention even if the person doesn't know you. And then the other thing that is shocking me here is that everything is about making an appointment. Because where we come from, where I come from in Uganda in particular, and I believe even in some other parts of Africa, some things are not done on appointments, like cutting your fingernails, like booking a salon appointment. It's not done. You just walk in. Something with cutting your hair, you will just wake up in the morning and be like, hey, I need to go cut my hair today, and then you just go and walk in. But here, everything is about booking an appointment. If I can share my experience, I remember my hair had grown, and then my beards had grown, and I wanted to go cut my hair because that was the most disturbing thing on me by the time. And then, so I went to the mall because I had seen a salon somewhere. So when I reached there, I was asked whether I have an appointment, and I was like, no, I don't have an appointment. So if you don't have an appointment, you wait longer than the person who has an appointment, because I think there are three people who came after me, and they had an appointment. So they were all walked on before me. I was walked on last. And then I learned that, so every time when I started going there, every time I go, I had to go there with an appointment when I booked an appointment and time. And also keeping time here is very important. Unless when you work with international people, when you're in Africa, that's when you learn keeping time. I remember when I was back in Uganda, I used not to keep time, but one time I had an appointment with somebody, a lady at the church. So she had told me, I think it was around 12 in the afternoon. But then I came at around 12:30 because I delayed. I had to take the taxi. I delayed in traffic. And then by the time I reached, she had already gone. When I reached out to her, she was like, "Oh, it's sorry about that, but our appointment was supposed to be at 12, not at 12:30." I tried to explain, but then she was like, "Yeah, we can get it some other time." So it's quite different. And then the other thing is on food. Food here, I feel like food here is a bit dry. Like everything is like the food is dry because where I come from, there is no food without sauce. Yeah. So every like if you're eating, if you're getting food, you get food with sauce. Like take for example, I'll say if I want to eat rice, posho, and matoke, they will give me a plate with that food I've ordered and then a plate of sauce. Here, it's the other way around. People eat pizza, people eat burgers, people eat hot dogs, and there's no sauce. And then there are very many kinds of meat here. So it's also difficult for somebody who is coming from a different part of the world. So I'll recommend some people who are from Africa or any other part of the world at least to Google and understand which kind of meat. Up to now, I'm still being challenged when it comes to food here. I'm still being challenged, and then I resort to most of the time like preparing my own food here. I go and buy my own food, and then come and prepare it in my own way. And then the other thing is on drinks like soda, like soft drinks. People here drink a lot of sodas and a lot of coffee. So some people that I normally be with, they take a lot of coffee. So when I got here, I used to get coffee. Back home, I used to take coffee. I'm not giving an invite for Nescafe, but I used to take Nescafe. So when I got here, when I was staying in a dorm at school, I used to buy Nescafe. And on top of that, every time I would buy Nescafe, I realized that the Nescafe here is stronger than the Nescafe we take back home. I don't know, but the Nescafe we take here, or the coffee people take here, Nescafe brand, and the brand we take back in Africa is totally different. I think we get a different kind of level of Nescafe. So I realized it was so strong. Every time I would take it, I would not sleep. So like throughout the night, my eyes would be open. Even if when I try to sleep, I would not sleep. So this coffee, I realized the coffee was stronger than me. And then I started like stopping taking it, and then that withdrawal, every time, most of the time, my eyes would start like twitching. Yeah, because I think I was getting addicted to it. Very many people here take coffee, and in the morning somebody comes with a very big cup of coffee, and then people also take a lot of sodas. So, uh, and then in Africa or in Uganda, so their time is not that we people here take coffee anytime of any day, anywhere. People here will take coffee. I'm a tea person, and then the other thing that shocks me here, they take coffee without sugar. Yeah, when I was growing, there's not any day unless I remember when I was in the village, we used to take tea without tea leaves, and it's only mujaja. I don't know how mujaja is called in English. Mujaja, Google it, mujaja. So, so here people take a lot of coffee. On top of that, there is no sugar. That shocks me because I feel like it has no taste. Back in Africa, we take coffee or tea, but then accompanied by sugar. And then there are particular times when coffee or tea is being taken, either in the morning, like as breakfast, and then or in the evening when you're back home, like relaxed, you'd be like, let me take a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. So many people here in Africa take tea, not coffee. We don't consume a lot of coffee. We consume tea. And then, but the tea or coffee, we put in sugar. And also it have to have an escort. You either get bread, like we call them buns, like those small bread, Or like people buy a loaf of bread and then put blue bun. I think it's what we call butter here. So, or slices of cassava. You get what I mean? Muogo. So it's called cassava is called muogo in my local language. So like those slices when they fry them and then put salt on them, like or chapati, anything. But it's not every day, all the time. Sorry, not like every time somebody can take it. Either in the morning and evening. Actually, yeah, and evening. That's when people take it. But then here, any day, anytime, somebody will take coffee anytime. And then the other thing, when it comes to food, I feel like there's a lot of like measurements. Like somebody asks you how much. If take for example, I normally make chapatis and then I make mandazi. Like sometimes when I get time, I normally bake stuff. But then when I give some of my friends here, they always ask me the quantity of maybe sugar if their mandazi is how, like how much sugar did you put in, how much, bro, we just put here and then you pour in. Like I don't even measure, I measure using my eyes. But then some people here like you like how much water do you put in, how much sugar do you put in, how much flour do you put in? And for me, I just measure using the eyes. I don't know why people like it in that way, where they ask the measurements. It's not in our culture. We don't measure. We measure like using the eyes and the then you pour in. And then here people don't drink soup. So people sell soup or take soup in different ways here. So you may go to a restaurant, like I've seen it in some of the Asian restaurants where they have soup, like real soup, could be mushroom soup or chicken soup or anything. When I say soup, soup where I come from, it's different. Soup is accompanied by something like food. You get what I mean? Like could be food and then soup. But here soup is taken like differently. Somebody they can give you a bowl full of soup. So it's so different. And then the other thing I would recommend for anyone who moves from Africa to here, at least Google about where you're going. Like if you're going any state that you're going to, know the time difference. Trust me, one of my biggest challenge was time difference because where I am and in Uganda is a difference of 10 hours. So if it's Saturday here, in Uganda is a Sunday. So like difference of time hours. So 10 hours difference. So you need to Google and then understand where you're going, what's the time difference, and also the climate. So and then, bro, where I am is too hot. I've never seen this kind of heat. Yeah. Uh, it's not easy to adopt into when it comes to summertime. Yeah, it's so hot. And even you reach a level when you sit into the car, you will, if you don't put the AC on, if your AC is not working proper, you'll feel this heat. Where I come from, the common means of transport is called taxis and border borders. Yeah. So taxis, it's like a van, and then I think it takes around like 14 people. So somebody like it's just somebody passes on the street when he's calling Nyabo Ogenda, Mama Ogenda, like Ogenda means are you going? So it loads the taxi. The common free transport that commonly used where I won't say free, it's using the bus. And here buses are used on like the bus route because it has a number and then you know where it's going and then you know where it's coming from. Where I come from, so the taxi driver will load you in. He may not be knowing where you're going, or you can ask you where you're going, but then if he's using the same route but not going the same direction, he may load you in and then sell you to a different taxi that goes where you're going. So they'll trade you. You get what I mean? So it's business oriented. So if you're watching this episode, just to remind you, thank you so much for watching Beyond the Noise with Sam. subscribe, like, comment, tell us where you're watching from. Give us your experience. If you are born and raised here, what have you heard about Africa? What would you like me to talk about? What would you like me to share about Africa? Because Africa is almost like everything is the same. But so you need to know, I always tell my friends, Africa is a continent, and Africa is, if we find somebody from West Africa and the person from East Africa, they are not the same. Just so you know, Africa is full of different countries. So, and different countries speak different language. So Africa was colonized. I think the biggest land in Africa was colonized by Britain. We studied English as well. I've had very many people asking me, how did you learn English? How come you speak English? So we are colonized by Britain, and then we speak English. There are also some African countries that speak French. Like if you go to Rwanda, they'll speak French. And then if you find somebody who is born and raised in West Africa, will be different from the person born and raised in East Africa, because those are two different parts of Africa. And then in Africa, I have different tribes. So tribes speak different kinds of languages. Like in my country, I think I have almost like 55 tribes, and most of them speak different kind of language, but it's almost similar. They just twist sometimes the words, but it's a good thing. So the two, we are totally different. Very many people confuse us, and some people can't even differentiate when they see somebody from Africa. They think we are the same, so we are not the same. Yeah, but it's a good thing. And then here, I think where I am, I normally see a lot of Spanish. I normally see some people from Asia, and then people who are born and raised here. And I love the fact that we all speak one language, that's English. Yeah. And then I've seen people who are speaking Spanish. Spanish is a good language. I like it. I wish I can learn it. So where I come from, we normally used to call it's a love language, the Spanish language. Why? Because a lot of people watch the telenovelas, and most telenovelas, they most of the time most of their episodes are about love and everything. So, and I love the way they speak. So I know I call it the love language. So yeah, and then getting back, and if you look at how traffic rules are respected here, is not the same way traffic rules are respected where I come from. So here in the States, traffic, it will be very hard for you to. I've never seen a traffic officer. Like, no, there's no traffic officers here, but there are highway patrols and also police patrols. Like, you find them on the side of the roads, and they'll make sure that you drive on a given speed. But then where I come from, when you're driving, sometimes you may reach to a junction where you find a traffic officer, just to make it easy for you. If you need a traffic officer. So a traffic officer is somebody who enforces the law of traffic. So where I come from, you may have the traffic lights, but then in the junction, there will also be a traffic officer. And the traffic officer may tell you to go when the traffic is red or when the lights are red, because it's enforcing the laws of traffic. And so we don't normally we follow that unless when there's no traffic officers, when you follow the traffic lights. But here, you follow traffic lights no matter what. I think it's a general thing. If you see an ambulance, fire truck, or any emergency thing, you move on the side and then they will pass. And then here there's DUI, like drink driving. Is it drinking under an influence? Is it that? So, and then where I come from, this is what we call, if you're caught driving under an influence, you may, it's not a must, or but you may talk with the traffic officer, and then we call it kitu kidogo, like you get into the pocket. Or if you break any traffic rules, you may get into your pocket and pay that police officer. It's not, you won't give you a receipt or anything. It's called a bribe, but it's a bribe in English. Where I come from, it's not a bribe. It's a different kind of language. So the record may ask you, do you speak Luganda? When we get that, do you speak Luganda? That means get into your pocket, like money comes like this, and then you pay the record officer. So he or she will let you go, because it's Africa. People need to survive. Yeah. So, and then here it's totally different. It's the other way around. So here, traffic officers, once they pull you, they will ask you. I like the fact that they ask, do you know why I pulled you? And then they will tell you why they have pulled you. Maybe you're overspeeding, or you change the lane without putting on your blinkers or something. They will always tell you the reason why they have pulled you, and then they will ask you for car registration and your driver's license. In my country, you may even be pulled without you having a driver's license, but then you may get away with it just because I told you, get kidogo. So, and then also when it comes on the road, respect. So here people don't bark at each other when they are driving. I've seen some do bark. I won't lie about that. Somebody can bark at you if you make any mistake in the road, but then I've realized that very many people will let you do, if you make a mistake, some people will just look at you and then they can understand. Where I come from, you make one mistake, maybe it's traffic, and then you make a mistake, trust me, if it's a taxi driver, will tell you like 10 words in 1 second. Abusive, and many words I can't say here, but just know, if you can drive in my country, you can drive anywhere in the world. Yeah. On top of that, here people respect when, like, if you're in a line, people always respect that line when you're made first come first serve. Where I come from, there is a lot of back doors and everything. You will, trust me, you will lose your patience. Here people are very patient, people are very respectful. I love the fact that some people go to these places with an appointment, because it makes your life easier. In my country, appointments sometimes don't work unless when you're meeting somebody. And also sometimes that the appointment thing don't work. So, and then the other thing, it's internet. One, the internet costs. Two, the internet utilization. Internet utilization in my country, I feel like, and on the other side, it's growing, and it's costly in my country than here. Here's internet, it's like one of the human basic needs. Where I come from, it's not. So it's quite expensive from the providers, and then also they'll send you text if you're overusing it, or if you're using it beyond maybe the how much data you are using. If you buy, like, let me say 50 GB or like 10 GB, they may if you use it and you reach on 50%, they will tell you you have used 50%, and then you reach on 90%, they will send a text saying you have used 90% of your data. And I think also I've seen it here. Yeah, I've seen it here. But here, what they tell you, they reduce the speed at which the internet is running. If you are using beyond what you are paid for that month, they will tell you I've used like 90%, and they will tell you you're going to reduce your speed at on which the internet is running from. So it's totally different, and I find it cheaper here than it is in my country. And then the other thing is the police respect. We have a lot of police brutality in my country. Like police beat people like anytime, anywhere. Here, I've seen it here more so in the neighborhood, even on the street, sometimes on the mall, in the mall. Uh, the police officer will read your rights, and then he will tell you why he's arresting you, and then he will also treat you with respect. However much you have your hands behind your back, but he will treat you with respect. In my country, trust me, a police officer can beat you up, can do whatever they want, and then they will put you under the car. It's called kabangali. So what under the car, I mean, if you have like, let me say you see how the truck is, so the back of the truck, and then there will be seats for the police officers, but then under their seats, that's where they will tell you to go. Yeah. So you go there, and then they will move around, they'll drive around like on doing different things, and then they will drive to the police station. So also in my country, sometimes you can get away with some kind of criminal things as long as you have, as long as you can speak that language. So it's totally different here here everything is done by the book, and everything goes on record. Yeah. I think that's one thing I've come to appreciate here, that things are done by the book, and people here are so much onto rights. I love the fact, I don't know if it's taught from school or it's taught from home. Kids here know their rights. Kids know that if anything happens, if something bad happens, they can call 911. I've seen kids calling 911 for their parents when their parents beat them up. And where I come from, they'll beat you any time of the day. If your parent can beat you any time of the day, and if it's your parent, can do whatever he or she wants to you. Yeah, they'll tell you to lie down. Most of even in schools, schools here, people are so humble and polite. Like, so I feel like kids or students don't respect teachers like it is in my country. Some students here, like, they don't value teachers. Like, when they look at them, they undermine them or they look them down. So where I come from, and it's the other way around, the students respect teachers more than anyone else. Yeah. And the other thing, before I forget it, so here in the States, it's about what you can deliver. It's not about how you are dressed, how you look, or how you do things. Where I come from, it's about how you are dressed. Somebody will look at you, how you are dressed, how you look, your hair, your nails, what you are wearing. Here, because I've seen people who go to work here when they are wearing shorts. I've seen people like this. I can go to work like this. Yet where I come from, we follow the British way of doing things. British way of doing things, you need to be smart all the time. You look yourself in the mirror, and then you have to be presentable. You have to iron. I've seen people here, some people don't even iron. And then the other thing, somebody may come when he's having like dog wool, like Is it called woo? What's it called? Oboya. Yeah. And it's okay for a person. So, and where I come from, trust me, you people will talk about you if you do it like you go like that. And then the other thing here, I've seen it here in summer. People dress the way they want. Somebody may dress when something is transparent. Where I come from, it's totally different. Trust me, it doesn't happen. It happens, but not so much common. And if it, they'll talk about you, and we all know they're talking about you. So I've come to appreciate that here people understand their rights and people know their rights. Yeah, it's the opposite of where I come from. I love the fact here that some things are accessible, like medication, like everyone is having a medical insurance, medication. What I mean is healthcare. Where I come from, if you go to a government hospital, it will be different, and if you go to a private hospital, it will also be different. I believe 90% of people where I come from don't have medical insurance. Like but they don't have medical insurance. It's totally the other way around. We normally use universal healthcare, where like healthcare is accessible by everyone and it's free. But the word free is in bracket. Yeah. I don't prolong this episode, but if you're watching us from anywhere, just remind you, remember, thank you so much for watching Beyond the Noise with Sam. In today's episode, it's Uganda versus America. So I'm trying to compare the two lives, the two things. You know what I mean? So tell us where you're watching us from. Subscribe, hit the bell button, tell a friend, share love, not hate. Like, thank you for being part of this. Thank you so much for watching it. Yeah. And tell me where you're watching from. Give me your opinion. Tell me what you would like me to tell you about Africa, or about Uganda. What have you heard about Uganda? I know you may pull out your Google and be like, where is Uganda? And you read about Uganda. I think one time I'll also do an episode about some stories on about Uganda. Yeah, some of the stories that we used to talk about when we were growing. There are stories of Jipidi and Labongo. There are stories of Nambi and Chintu. So it's, yeah. So tell me where you're watching us from. Tell me what you think about the topics that we discuss here or the topic I share here. Yeah, and feel free to follow, like, comment, hit the bell notification. Yeah, thank you for being part of the show. And the other thing that I've seen here, for the time I've been in the States, I don't know if I shared it before, I've only seen power going off thrice. Yeah, I think I shared it in my last episode. I've seen power going off thrice for the time I've been, for the 3 years I've been here. Yeah, and if power goes off, it's like an emergency thing. It's worked on so fast. Where I come from is the other way around. But let me tell you one thing I miss about home: eating fresh food, fresh fruits. Yeah, we eat fresh stuff where I come from. Organic. The real word organic. Yeah, I grew up climbing trees. People here don't climb trees. I grew up playing dulu. I've never seen anyone playing dulu. Dulu is it's a game you use with your fingers. I grew up riding bicycles. I know you're thinking about like riding a bicycle. No. Watch to do kuvuga egali ngovude manjo. So I don't believe people here do it. So riding the bicycle in that instance means if you go to the toilet, when you're a kid, not an adult, got me right, not an adult, when you're a kid, when you go and visit the toilet, when we were kids. So our toilets when we were growing up, our toilets used to be here. People use toilets with running water and everything. No, so the toilet, some majority of toilets in Africa, so they dig a hole, a very big hole, like deep, it goes deep, and then they construct on top of it, and then they'll build something like a small house, it's not a house, like a toilet on top of it, and then they leave a small hall where you squat and then you do your activities. Yeah. So when after using the toilet when you're young, like us who were young by that time, so you move outside and then you sit down and then you start riding the bicycle. So riding the bicycle, you sit down and then put your ass down and then you push yourself. So when you sit down and push yourself, your thing opens up and then it's like the ground cleans your ass. Yeah, if it's, I can use the right word, the grounds clean your ass, like you scrub your ass on the ground, and after you'll see that the remaining poop remains there. They will say it's almost like how you get toilet paper after using the toilet, after finishing that activity, you wipe your ass. It's the same way it used to do for us. Yeah. Uh yeah, if you want you can try it. I don't know how you can try it, but here kids grow up like using running water and everything. Bro, where you come from? I think I said you going to or staying in a house with a toilet, flashing toilet, like with running water when I'd grown. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think that was my first renting, and not so long ago. So I grew up going in diluted toilet, but yeah, I said buying the toilet papers. You know, it's so fun. It's so fun. Just know it's so fun. When you're growing up, and even they will ask you, did you ride a bicycle? And then you will say yes or no. And then if your parents are not sure if you read the bicycle or no, they will tell you, let's see, let me see. So they'll you bend and then they'll check and then you go back and clean yourself again. Yeah, then you go back and ride the bicycle again. So I remember we had our grandma used to be called Jaja Maso. So she was like the owner of the houses we are staying on. There were very many houses, and then we were very many kids. So on that toilet, she had even left for us space for us to go and do that activity. And that space, you find dried poop like almost everywhere. That means the kids are using it. They ride the bicycle. So it's so fun. Just know it's so fun. I wish I can get back to childhood and do other things. There's some things I miss doing. Yeah. So yeah, tell me what you think about riding the bicycle. It's a good thing. When you're growing up, it's a good thing. Yeah. And then the other thing, last but not least, I don't want to prolong the video so much. Tell me where you're watching us from. Tell us what you think about the topics of the things I'm sharing. So we eat fresh stuff. We do a lot of different activities. I grew up in the place called Chitintare. I remember we used to go to Miami Beach in Rosira, and we used to swim from the lake. We grew up also going to Kachanga. Yeah. So we used to do a lot of stuff. So just to sum up, life here is totally from the life we grew up from Africa. And when we get here, trust me, it's not the same as we are used to how things are done in Africa. Here, you need to be patient. Here, some people take things so personal. Some people don't know how to joke here, and that's one thing I've seen. We joke a lot in Africa, like we joke a lot than here. People here don't joke that much, and then here people stay indoors so much than where we come from. And here you may have a classmate. This is to it's something that I never expected, but it's common here. So you will have a friend in class, but then when you move outside, trust me, this friend of yours may not say hi. Yeah, you sit on the same desk or using like in class, but then when you move outside class and finds you in the compound, you actually may not say hi because it's a different culture here. So it's different. The way things are done is different. There's a lot of like having an appointment, and I appreciate that there are a lot of resources, there are a lot of support here than where I come from. So yeah. Also, I always tell people here we study in English where we come from. It's and it's British English. It's not American English. So the English from somebody in California is the same English from somebody in New York. That's where also I'm getting confused from. But it is what it is. So tell me what you think about today's topic. We're comparing the two lives. Remember last time I was saying I'll tell you how kids are raised in Africa and how kids are raised here. I think that'll be my next episode. So today I wanted to compare the two lives in terms of like food, culture, and yeah, uh, compare the two. I don't want to take the video so long. Tell me where you're watching us from. Tell us, share with us also your experience as is in the video, and also feel free to share, like, comment, share love, not hate, tell a friend, tell a friend. Even tell your friends to be part of these discussions. Thank you so much, everyone who is watching different episodes that I do. I don't want to mention names because I may forget others and I get hungry. So thank you so much for being part of this episode today. I'm going to stop here for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I wish I can give a hug to everyone who is watching, but please give yourself a hug on my behalf. Thank you so much. Yeah, give yourself a hug. Yeah, thank you so much for being part of this. I do appreciate love and and care. Thank you. Enjoy your day. You enjoy your evening, wherever you are. I don't know if it's night or day, whatever you're watching from. Remember, every time before I end an episode, at least I teach you one Uganda word. Yeah. Which Uganda word can I teach today? Jebareko. Jebareko is like, how are you doing? Jebareko nyabo. Nyabo is a woman. Jebareko nyabo. It's like, how are you doing, madam? How are you doing, miss? Oh, and then when I say Jebareko sebo, it's like, how are you doing, sir? Sir is for a man. Sebo is a man. Madam. Nyabo is a woman. You get what I mean? Jebareko is how are you doing? So you say I'm doing okay, I'm not doing well. Ndi bulungi oba siri bulungi. Yeah, jebareko, you can replay it. Jebareko nyabo, jebareko sebo. Jebareko nyabo. Jendi sebo. Wasibye otya nyabo. Bulungi sebo. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, have a good day, have a good evening. Enjoy your whatever you are doing. Take care.